Have you bought or been given a needle felting beginner's kit and the fibre you get looks a bit like this? It's tops or roving and you're really struggling to get this to felt nicely. It's patchy, it's got lines in it, it's just taking forever to felt. Let's talk about that. Hey, it's Pam Duthie and it's a Wednesday, so it must be another needle felting equipment and supplies review. And today we're doing something a little bit different. I just want to do a wee technique for how we can improve stuff that is all too often coming to us when we buy a beginner needle felting kit. But every Wednesday I make videos a little bit like this, so if this is something you're interested in, don't forget, come back every Wednesday. So if you want to let me know in the comments down below what fibres you started felting with when you started your needle felting journey. For me, I just took the stuff I could get, which was some beautiful, soft, lovely merino tops or roving or whatever you call it. And that is what I learnt with in the main, because that's what I could get hold of, that's what came in kits. And I didn't realise how much that was holding me back. It's really tricky to felt with. And this is something that really kind of annoys me. A lot of beginners are spending quite a lot of money on new kits and the fibre in it is merino tops or roving. It's this stuff that looks beautiful. Well, this isn't even merino, but it gives you an idea of tops. It's this stuff, it looks pretty when you pull it out and you go, oh, I've got all this lovely fibre, but it's a pig to felt with. If you try wrapping it around something, quite often you'll get lines where obviously it's got lines as you wrap it. There'll be like gaps and lines. When you try and felt it into a shape, it takes so much longer to felt into the shape, and also there can be divots and gaps where the wrapping, where you've wrapped it, where edges join basically. It can be so difficult to use for a beginner. But all is not lost. I want to show you how you can take this kind of tops or roving type stuff and turn it into something resembling the much easier to felt bats. Now obviously the ideal is to buy bats, but sometimes you just have to use what you've got. And also I have quite a lot of tops or roving because I like to make long-haired sculptures, and there's times when I want to match the colours of what the long hair is and have ears or noses or anything else, and I want to have a little bit easier to felt with fibre to do that with. And it's going to be really difficult to be able to get bats in an exact matching colour, so I want to be able to turn my tops into something easier to felt with. So one of the reasons why bats can be so hard to felt is because all the fibres are nicely combed all out in the same direction, which makes great for long luxurious hair. And it's also good if you were just stabbing perpendicular to the direction of these fibres, then for every stab you would catch tons and tons of fibres. But if you're stabbing in a different direction, then you're kind of missing quite a lot of fibres, so it takes a lot of stabbing to get it to work. Also, like I said, because we're all in lines like this, when you're trying to cover a large area, you can get gaps between the lines, which make it a right pain to get an even coverage. Whereas carded bats, your fibres are all scrunched up in different directions, so when the needle goes in, it's got a greater chance of hitting more fibres, therefore felting more fibres together. So for each stab you get more bang for your felting buck, much less effort to felt better. So if you've just got a really small amount that you want to be able to felt, maybe just for covering a small area, covering a gap, blending some colours together to do some 2D felting, or just a small thing like a tongue or an ear. So basically all you're going to want to do here is take the small amount of roving that you want to use and fluff it up. Pull the fibres apart sideways, stack it and restack it on top of each other, play about with it, and in a couple of minutes it's going to become a scrumpled heap rather than the nice smooth fibres that it was in the first place. And this is perfectly adequate for a small amount of fibres. But if you've got a larger amount of fibres, you want to cover a larger piece, make something a bit bigger, then this method is going to take a bit of time. So I've got a different method for you, and this is using our dog brushes. If you haven't already seen my video where I mentioned using the dog brushes to card fibre, this is to blend fibres of different colours together, then check out the cards that I just linked to above. But we can also use these dog brushes to turn Roving into carded bats. And it's basically just not being as gentle. Layer out the fleece that you want onto the dog brushes and then brush. You want to be less careful with this. When you're carding to blend, you're just gently going from the very tips of the floaty out edges of the fibre. With this, you're going right in and brushing the stuff. You're going backwards and forwards with the dog brushes, even side to side if you're a bit careful. You're not going to harm the brushes that much. And then to get it off, you just put the brushes facing the same direction and just backwards and forwards. That kind of rolls up your now bats into the one piece, and it will come off your dog brushes in a much more fluffed up fashion. So that's all you need to do to turn some beautifully neat tops into lovely messed up, easy to felt with bats. So I hope that helped you. Don't forget, click on my wee face to subscribe, check out the video of the carded dog brushes, and come back every Wednesday for more tips and reviews. Thank you so much.